This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Monday, February 17th, 2025. I'm Marek Mazurek. A House committee on Monday approved a bill that could start an unusual and unlikely process by which several dozen Illinois counties could join the state of Indiana. In an 11-1 vote, the House's Government and Regulatory Reform Committee approved House Bill 1008, which would create a commission to discuss how Indiana could, quote, embrace counties in Illinois who want to secede from their state. The bill would establish the Indiana-Illinois Boundary Adjustment Commission, which could meet to talk about changing the state border. G.H. Merritt traveled with the group New Illinois to speak at Monday's hearing. She said that the push to break away is due to many rural communities feeling the Illinois State House isn't listening to them.
Our biggest grievance is that we are not represented. We don't have government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Our governor accuses us of wanting to kick Chicago out of Illinois. Not so. We want to kick ourselves out of Illinois.
To actually have counties in Illinois break off and join Indiana still requires a long-shot process that has not occurred in modern U.S. history. Any official boundary shifts would require approval from both the Illinois General Assembly and U.S. Congress. 2 Democrats joined Republicans in passing the bill out of committee. Representative Reagan Hatcher said her district in Lake County often feels ignored by the rest of the state, so she voted for the bill since it's in the spirit of listening to communities that feel left out. The bill is authored by Republican Speaker of the House Todd Huston. Overwhelming opposition from county officials has likely killed a Republican bill that could shift authority over large-scale utility infrastructure projects from local governments to the state. Weeks of recent State House discourse around the legislation continued a larger, years-long fight between state and local officials to decide the reach and limits of Indiana's home rule gold standard. And contention over House Bill 1628 seems to indicate that struggle is far from being settled. Of greatest concern to the bill's opponents are provisions to strip local governments of their ability to approve or deny construction of power plants, water systems, and gas pipelines that span across multiple counties, instead giving the state more decision-making control over the zoning and approval processes for those proposals. Representative Ed Soliday, who chairs the House Utilities Committee, called it a response to ongoing resistance of local governments to greenlight solar, wind, and other renewable projects, which are increasingly necessary to support the state's growing energy demands. Critics, however, decried the proposal as an overreach and argued it unfairly weakens local dominion. The bill was subject to more than 4 hours of testimony but did not receive a committee vote ahead of Monday's deadline, seemingly killing the legislation. From the #1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
To succeed, you need to stay informed. You need to be engaged. And let's face it, you need to set yourself apart from the rest by connecting with a company that brings you the best. Because in today's environment, business is an ever-moving target, and we'll help you chase it. IBJ Media. The best of business is in us. Get started at ibjmedia.com/youngprofessional.
The Ports of Indiana says cargo shipments have continued to increase, with 2024 totaling the second highest year for annual volume shipments in history. Indiana has ports in Jeffersonville and Mount Vernon on the Ohio River and Burns Harbor on Lake Michigan. Ports of Indiana shipped 13 million tons of cargo in 2024, an increase of 3% from 2023. In November, the Ports of Indiana received the largest federal grant in its history to build a $16 million rail yard and transload facility at its Mount Vernon port. Peacock said that project could double the port's rail capacity. Other milestones include the ports in July getting approval to establish the first international sea cargo container terminal on Lake Michigan at the Ports of Indiana Burns Harbor. In total, the ports announced more than $200 million in public and private investments last year. And Indiana State University will host former Governor Mitch Daniels on Monday night as part of its University Speaker Series. The event at 7 p.m. at Tilson Auditorium is free and open to the public. Daniels served as governor from 2004 to 2012 and then as president of Purdue University from 2013 to 2022. He now holds the title President Emeritus at Purdue and is Distinguished Scholar and Senior Advisor at the Carmel-based Liberty Fund. Crew Car Wash Vice President Sally Grant is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC. A weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Mark Mazurik for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.